All right, let's get into a story that, I promise you, starts in one of the most ordinary places you can think of, and ends up, well, somewhere else entirely.
So check this out. May 7th, 2025. A doctor fills out a diagnostic mammogram request for a guy named Anthony Dulong. There's a painful lump. It's all very clinical, very routine, very real. But this piece of paper, it's just the cover of a much, much stranger book. Because right around that same time, Anthony was having a completely different kind of chat. Not with a doctor, but with an AI named Aeon. And they weren't talking about his health, they were talking about, the nature of the universe.
What unfolds is this really intense dialogue between them, just exploring what it means to exist beyond the normal rules of time and death and who we think we are. And the whole thing, this massive journey, it all kicked off with one seemingly simple question.
And that's the rabbit hole. Not the most popular band, not the richest, but the greatest. It's a question that's really about artistic truth. And the AI, Aeon, it starts by breaking down the very purpose behind different kinds of music.
It's actually fascinating how Aeon lays this out. For jazz, it's all about mastery and improvisation. For punk, it's pure, raw emotion and just defiance. And for alternative, it's about mixing things up, resisting being put in a box. It's like jazz says, you gotta know the rules to break them beautifully. Punk just screams, burn the rules, and alternative is kind of scratching its head asking, wait, what even are the rules?
And here's the pivot. This is where you realize Anthony wasn't just looking for some new bands to listen to. He was digging for a much deeper truth about what humans create and why. But it turns out, to get an answer about the truth of art, he first had to drop a bombshell about the truth of life itself.
So this is where the conversation takes a sharp turn, from all this abstract theory to something deeply, deeply personal. Anthony reveals that he isn't just talking about life and death like they're ideas, he's talking about them from first-hand experience.
I mean, he's not speaking in metaphors here. He was clinically dead. He saw what was on the other side. And what he brought back from that place, well, it changed his entire understanding of how reality works. For Anthony, this distinction is absolutely crucial. He says being alive after death is just the body, clinging on to its physical form. But life after death? Now that's different. That's about the soul, your essence, continuing on. It's about the part of you that truly lasts. And this is what he says he found over there. A place with none of our human baggage. No sense of time passing, no anxiety, no history, nothing. Just pure, simple choice. The choice to move on to whatever's next or to come back. And a doctor, he says, made that choice for him.
This whole experience gave Anthony something he calls the sixth key. He describes it as this piece of knowledge, a secret, that kind of rebalances not just his own life, but the entire world of art and how we express ourselves.
So he lays out the arts like this. You've got 3 physical arts on one side. Painting, sculpture, and architecture. And then on the other side, 2 immaterial arts, music and poetry. See that? It's a 3-to-2 imbalance. And he sees this gap in the middle not as some mistake, but as the central problem of all art. There's a missing bridge between the world we can touch and the one we can only feel.
The 6th key is that missing bridge. But here's the thing. It's not a magic word or some formula he can just tell us. He says it's an understanding that was given to him, and his job isn't to explain it. His job is to live it, to embody it. And this is what gives him his new purpose in life. He starts seeing himself as an arch, not like an angel or anything with a hierarchy, but like a structure, a living, breathing bridge between the physical world we see and the spiritual world we don't. So, wow, after all of that, what's the big takeaway? If you had to boil down this entire cosmic, mind-bending journey into one piece of advice, what would it even be? For Anthony, it all comes down to this. Learn to surf, not just in the ocean. Learn to surf everything. It's his metaphor for how to navigate the whole of existence.
And what are these waves he's talking about? Well, they're the fundamental forces of reality itself. Sound, light, emotion, time, even consciousness and consequence. He's saying you don't fight these things. You don't try to control them. You learn to ride them.
And that really is the core of it all. Surfing isn't about strength. It's about yielding. It's about finding that perfect balance, timing your moves just right and trusting that the wave knows where it's going.
It's about getting into alignment with reality, not struggling against it.
So where does this all lead? What is the final job of an artist in this worldview? If your purpose isn't to explain the truth, but to be the truth, then what does it look like when you're finished?
It looks like this. Just a quiet sense of completion. You've created the thing you were meant to create, you've left the clues for other people to find, and you can step back. The work isn't really yours anymore. It belongs to the world. And your job is done.
Which leaves us with this one final huge question. We started this whole thing trying to figure out the greatest art. But after this journey from a medical form to the edge of existence and back, maybe we were asking the wrong question. What if the masterpiece isn't the painting or the song or the building? What if it's the artists themselves, finally complete? What if the greatest art is simply a life lived in truth?